The standoff at the Texas special legislative session continues as Texas Democrats are still in Washington, D.C. Joining us now to talk about this is Travis County GOP Chairman Matt Mackowiak and Glenn Smith from Progress, Texas. Glenn Smith, starting with you, is it time for Democrats to finally come home and face reality?
No. You know why? Because Governor Abbott vetoed the budget for the legislature and made them hostages to his will. Never before in history has a governor said, you only get to be a legislature, a paid legislature with staff and bipartisan independent agencies, if you pass the bills I want you to pass. They should not come here under those conditions. They can't be hostages to the will of one would-be dictator. This is something you might expect from the Turkish President Erdogan or somebody. So their fight for voting rights is important, but just as important is the Texas Constitution and the separation of powers, and they should fight to maintain those.
Matt Mackowiak, what about the Republicans? Should they negotiate with the Democrats in Washington, D.C. now to get them to come back?
No, because in this case, the tactic that these Democrats have been utilizing is an illegitimate tactic. Quorum breaking is not part of being a member of the legislature. And that's why the Speaker Pro Tem was stripped of his position, his leadership position. It is why I think ultimately you will see Democratic committee chairs stripped of their positions as well. The job of being a member of the Texas House is in Austin. It's not in Washington. If they wanted to affect federal legislation, they should have run for Congress. In this case, Glenn, it's not just about the legislative appropriations bills. It's about teacher retirement. It's about bail reform. It's about lots of other issues. Are you saying Democrats wouldn't need to show up for a special session had he not vetoed the legislative appropriations bill? Surely they care about bail reform and teacher retirement, don't they?
Yeah, they care so much about the teacher retirement bill that they all voted for it in the regular session. The Republicans killed it, and now they're hypocritically holding it out as some kind of bait. This is ridiculous. Abbott vetoed the budget of the legislature and said, pass the bill I want or I will defund you. In what constitution in the history of democracy is that okay? The Democrats are fighting to maintain the separation of powers as called for in the Texas Constitution. It's very easy to see.
You know, Glenn,
well, I would argue, yeah.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't see them fighting. I see them fleeing. I see them running away. They're in Washington, D.C., 2,500 miles away from their jobs, away from their families. Now 6 of them have COVID. They held a press conference today, the ones who don't have COVID, but they certainly could have it. They've now threatened the health of 2 constitutional officers and the Vice President of the United States and the Speaker of the House, both of whom have aides who have now come down with COVID after meeting with these runaway Democrats. So look, this charade needs to come to an end. It started off as a farce. It became a super spreader event. Now it's a national security event.
Did you criticize the Oregon Republicans when they broke quorum? No. This is another one that look like ethics for me, but not for you. This is BS, man. It's got to stop. Call this what it is. Quorum breaking has been around since there were quorums. It's totally legitimate. It's authorized by the Constitution. They should hang with it.
Okay, then the corollary to that, Glenn, no, I'm not paying a lot of attention to Oregon Republicans. Apparently you are. Did you celebrate Oregon Republicans using this quote unquote legitimate tactic or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a legitimate tactic. Absolutely. It is in every democracy that has a constitution and requires a quorum for action in the legislature. And to say it's not is a lie. It's simply a lie.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I am sorry to interrupt, but we've got to wrap it up. Once again, Glenn, Matt, thank you so much for talking with us.
Happy to be here.
All right.